Is it? They all kind of run together. So let's see if I got my screen here and if you guys can see me and hear me, and we'll get started. So, all right, there comes my screen. So that's a good start. At least I know I can see me. How about you guys? Can you hear me, see me? Jacob says 5x5. Krista, Swamp Ninja, Johnny Finance, Robert, Finley the Dog, Grandma Prepper. Okay. All right. Well, it was the typical busy day here today. I was out in the berry patch weeding the strawberries and moving some runners around and doing that stuff that's starting to grow out in the yard and break those off and bring them into the garden so I can kind of contain everything at least. And then, of course, getting closer and closer to having my garage done. I got about half the dry lock done today, so that was a good thing. So that was the major excitement around here. You know, me getting painted and dirty and what else is new? It's part of being a homeowner and living out in the country and trying to grow your own food. So, all right. So I guess we will continue my whole soliloquy here, my monologue, whatever you want to call it, will be on the same topic that everything else has been on today. What's going on in Nashville? And it's interesting as the day goes along, the more and more stuff comes out. I guess now the shooter was known to have emotional problems. Really? Because she only wanted to be a man. But then again, that would lead right into a bunch of psychiatrists coming out today and saying a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and nothing you can do to change that. If you think you can, then you have a mental disorder. Wow. And I didn't even have to get a PhD to figure that one out. Okay. Then, of course, you had the best one there, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's the long shot Republican candidate for president. I mean, the guy's not going to go anywhere, but he's going to set the tone, and I'm liking what I'm hearing from him. Okay, but he came out today and quote called for gender dysphoria to be treated as a mental illness. Good, because it should. Okay, this is it. People aren't all there upstairs. Okay, the squirrels run out of nuts. I think they still got plenty of nuts, but then the long litany of lines after what I was telling you guys about at lunchtime today, or mid-afternoon, I guess it was, my lunchtime. You have a group known as the Trans Resistance Network that is now blaming this on conservatives. The reason those kids were killed, and those administrators were killed was not because of some deranged leftist man wannabe, but it's the conservatives' fault that because of everything that we're saying about them, that they have no other option but to go out and commit violence because that's the only way they're ever going to be heard. And they're berating the media for referring to Audrey Hale as a woman. Okay, her preferred pronouns were he, him. You need to. No, I don't. Sorry, not going to. The funniest thing I'm going to give you on this. All right, and this is just silly. The whole, I mean, there's, the lesbian crowd, the gay crowd, whatever, even the bi crowd. Okay, fine. Do your thing as long as I don't have to pay attention to it. I really don't care what you do behind closed doors. Okay. But drag shows and all that sort of crap, and men dressing as women like Bruce Jenner and Richard Levine, which will never be known as any other name coming out of this mouth. Okay. Yeah, they got problems. But, the funny thing is, this is what I think about all the time. They're out there demanding that we accept them for who they are, right? Except they can't even accept for themselves who they are. So Why do I have to participate in your fantasy? You can't accept who you are in the first place. Why do I have to accept who you are in the second place? Not happening. Sorry. Done. So just kind of an interesting thought that I had put out there. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. It is greatly appreciated. And we will continue to keep the channel flowing as best we can until, I'll give you guys this one just in case I get my whammy here from some of the things I've said in the last couple of days. Just make sure you're subscribed to the backup channel. Okay. Because if all of a sudden I'm not there in the morning, you know where to find me. Just saying. Okay. So, yeah, so that was it. So kind of seeing what the reaction has been today. I told you about KJP and her idiotic blaming Republicans for it and all this sort of stuff. Again, it's, oh my God, we failed again. How can we blame them? It's just over and over and over again. I mean, this administration is such a failure. I mean, on everything it's touched. I mean, name one success Joe's had. Just one. You can't. There aren't any. Okay. There was a great picture that came out today of the Taliban having all the military vehicles lined up, like, for those of you ex-military, how you have everything put in a motor pool, okay? All lined up, bumper to bumper, everything nice. I mean, this went on for an enormous amount of space, courtesy of Joe Biden. They even had pictures of all the money laid out, courtesy of Joe Biden. We still get, the sad part is, guys, we still got 20 months of this moron. Okay. Pray to God it's not 4 years and 20 months. I mean, if we get 81 million brain dead people again, supposedly selecting him. So that was that. But yeah, I figure you guys are going to have enough questions on all this crap today. So I'll keep it short. All right. So let's get into Q&A. For those of you that are new here, welcome. For those of you that left, sorry, it's springtime, snowflakes melt. I noticed after my videos today, the subscriber count went down. So probably a bunch of butthurt snowflakes who thought they had the balls to be preppers and they didn't. They don't want to deal in reality. Sorry, that's kind of rule number one for a prepper is you've got to accept what's real. Okay, if you can't do that, you'll never survive an SHTF event. But for those of you who are new on Tuesdays and Saturdays, what we do is Q&A. Okay, your chance to ask what's on your mind rather than just listen to what's on mine. So I try to answer as many questions as I can, but I will tell you guys this, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. Okay, I know a lot of people send me emails and stuff and ask questions I've got no idea about. Okay. Nothing's off limits. You can ask anything you want. We've discussed everything. Okay. If you have a question for me, all I ask is that you put it in all caps, pretty much like every other YouTube channel, so I can find them quickly as I'm going through the chat right below me here, or below the screen at least. The only thing I require is that you treat each other with respect and dignity in here. No, I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care if you disagree with each other, but if you want to get rude about it, you will not have a second chance to even say, I'm sorry. Okay. Engage brain before putting mouth in gear. Pretty simple. So, all right, let's kind of get into what we got going on here, what you guys want to talk about. I will get to the top and we'll see what's on y'all's mind. So, all right. I'm still in before you guys got here. Okay, there's 5x5s. A couple of hellos. What does my hat say? It says Natchez Shooting Supplies. One of the places where I get ammo. So they sent me a hat. Hope it didn't break the company. Let's see. Donna Charge, what do I think about the Democrats voting down Ron Johnson's WHO health bill? It doesn't surprise me. Because remember, the Democrat is a synonym for communist, which is a synonym for globalist. Okay. And the Democrats would be totally happy with a worldwide dominated decision making body that they could sit in their ivory towers in Washington, D.C., without ever having to make any of the decisions. They don't have to answer when everything goes wrong. I mean, this is the problem. Right now, it's like everything that gets blown up, they're trying to spin somehow to say, oh, no, it's not bad. I mean, like Ted Cruz grilling Mayorkas today about the southern border. If their answer is, well, we didn't do it, blame the WHO. That's what they want. They want all the benefits of being in Washington with none of the responsibility. But then again, that's the definition of a Democrat in itself. Pay me, but I don't want to work. Let's see. Prayerful EA, any idea how many LGBTQ there are in the US? I've heard numbers anywhere between 2% and 7%. The one thing I did see today, like I told you in the afternoon video, was 1% of boomers, I think it's 2.4% of Gen Xers and like 30% of Gen Zers. But again, that's Gen Zers, it's a fad. It's like, oh, everybody's wearing skinny jeans, I've got to go buy skinny jeans. And you get a little older and you go, these things are uncomfortable as hell, I'm not wearing them anymore. Okay. It's, as I told my daughter all the time, she's like, well, I'm a liberal, I believe in this. I said, yeah, wait till you get out in the real world. And she always laughed at me. She's like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. All of a sudden, Dad, why are they taking so much in taxes out? Yeah. Okay. How do I do this? Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, ding. Everything Dad was telling you was right. Let's see. Vicky Savage, headline of The Great Escape from the Funny Farm, the nuts have bolted. No, they're still in Washington. They haven't left yet. LC, I planted very leggy 3-inch potato chits. Should I rip them up and replace them? No, they'll be fine. I mean, they're not going to be, you'd have been better if they were shorter. Okay. Obviously, you kept them in a dark area, which were good. If you got those long, white, leggy things, if you planted a whole potato, chances are it's going to sprout from somewhere else. I get that every year. I plant them. Now what I get last year, 150 pounds of potatoes or whatever, and I had some that were 6 inches. I just cut them back a little bit, those white, long sprouts, and let them do their thing, and they're good. So. Brandy F, what do I think about the up and down with the banks? Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked about the financial markets here in a few days. You saw Silicon Valley Bank got bought out. You saw Credit Suisse got bought out. Then you saw there were rumors on Deutsche Bank being in trouble. The banking industry is walking a tightrope right now. Does it fall to the left? Does it fall to the right? Does it make it to the other side of the ravine? Because nobody knows. And as I don't have to tell anybody like this, it's not like the banking industry is really forthcoming to the government, and the government is not exactly forthcoming to the people. So what's going on there? Everything's trading right now on innuendo and rumor instead of fact and information and pure data. And so that's why all somebody's got to do is get on Twitter and say Deutsche Bank's on the verge of bankruptcy, and the stock tanks. I mean, I remember this goes. I mean, obviously it goes back 20 some odd years. Back when I was a broker, and CNBC would be on everybody's TV in their office. And it was funny because they would always tease something before the commercial. Jim Cramer up next with the stock that you must own, in the next 6 months or whatever. And, he's going to discuss, I'll pick one, Philip Morris, which doesn't even exist as a company anymore, but, it's Altria Group. But And I'd sit there and watch, and well, the stock could go up like $1.50 because everybody was buying off the rumor that Kramer was going to say something important after the commercial, and so everybody bought it like crazy, and it happened every time. Now, how Jim Kramer still has a job, I have no idea, because this guy's been. You can count how many times he's been right in 20 some odd years on one hand. And I mean, Christ, you need to fill a damn football stadium with how many times he's been wrong to have enough hands to fill that. I mean, this was the guy that 2 weeks before Silicon Valley Bank went belly up. He was saying, "Oh, this is an undervalued stock. You've got to buy it now." Yeah. Okay. You want to know how to make money? Do the exact opposite from what Jim Kramer says. Kathy, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Get into this. EMP, what happens to our cloud backups, our Dropbox? Will the EMP destroy an external hard drive? If a computer is turned off, will it still be fried? I guess the same question for data on our phones. Even if the stuff is turned off, it's not going to matter. I mean, basically, this is frying the electronics. I can't answer if it would fry a hard drive or if it would fry Dropbox. My guess is Dropbox, because it's stored on a server somewhere. It's going to destroy the server, which is going to destroy all the data on it. But yeah, you lose your computer, you're going to lose your phone, everything like that. Unless you've got some sort of protection on it, whether it's a Faraday bag or a Faraday cage or, whatever you've got to put your devices in, and trust me, guys, I'm not downplaying Faraday cages or Faraday bags or anything like that, okay? The issue, the question I have is this. Right now, this second, if an EMP went off, what in your house is protected? Chances are you're watching me on your phone or your laptop or your tablet or something. So those are all fried, okay? Unless it's something that you keep in that Faraday bag or Faraday box all the time, the Faraday bag's useless, okay? Because you can say, well, I put it in there before I go to bed every night. Well, great. If the EMP goes off at 9 o'clock in the morning while you're at work, your phone's fried. That's the thing, and we don't worry about the phone. Chances are the cell phone towers are going to be toast, so yeah, you're trying to keep it for data that you got on their music files or pictures or something. That's going to be about it. So, but as for an external hard drive or something like that, I'd say chances are it's fried, but don't quote me on that one. I'm not sure. Okay, moving on along. Oops, and we're gonna get this way, back to the bottom, and go back to the top. Okay. Yeah. Royal Lioness, slow-mo Joe succeeds at falling upstairs. Yeah, he's only done that 3 times. I mean, come on. Got a guy that's the most powerful man in the free world who can't manage to walk up a flight of stairs. Okay. Montana girl, when should I trim my mature lilac bush? Certainly before it leaves out. You're in zone 5A. My guess is you've already got buds on it, so it's too late. You should be trimming it out when it's dormant. You should have probably done it in the fall at the worst case scenario over the winter. But yeah, if it's budding out now, do not trim it now. Let's see. Jennifer Morse, any thoughts on the chemical spill in Delaware, Philadelphia area? I saw something on it today. I don't have enough information to really say anything about it. Somebody sent me something. There was a train derailment in California too, or a ghost train, I guess it was running without anybody being on board or something. I've seen the headlines, but I did not get into doing any research on them. Again, like I said, and I apologize, guys. This time of year is always crazy busy. It's springtime. Okay, it's like planting and transplanting, and then I've got the garage project, and as soon as I finish that, I got to replace my front deck. It's going to be. I'm not 24/7. This is not PNN. I'm not here 24/7 paying attention to the news. I mean, a lot of you guys are emailing me in the afternoon or whatever, and I'll hear my phone ping, and I'll go look at it real quick. It's like, okay, do I need to reply to this? Is it something I can look at later? Or then again, and I'm going to ask you guys this again. If you email me links to videos and don't tell me what I'm looking for and don't give me a timestamp, I don't even open the video. I just delete the email. Okay. Check this out and a link, delete. Okay. I don't, you know, tell me, write in there, tell me what it's about. If I'm interested in looking at it, I'll open the video. If you don't even tell me that, I'm not even opening the video. So save yourself some time. Prep Rebel, thank you for the super chat. $27.99 Canadian. Okay. It's, they're $20 US, I guess, something like that. Thank you. So, all right. Let's see. Mama Bear living on a dime and a prayer. If I could, I'd subscribe even more times after today. Smiles. There you go. Trust me, I think all anybody can take me is once. No, Billy, that's good. Howdy, Pinball. We've got the only president who can't get brain freeze from his ice cream. That's about it. Gotta have a brain. Brian loves bacon. Do I have a new hat? No, I've had this one for a while. It's just I don't wear it much. It's good if I'm, if I would go out hunting or something like that. It's orange if I want to be seen, but most of the time, it's like, okay, hat hair. And it's like, all right, grab a hat. And it was, the two that were convenient downstairs here were either this one or my Trump hat. And I was like, okay, I'll wear the Natchez hat tonight. So my other ones are all upstairs because I have a tendency to forget to take them off when I go upstairs after doing something like this. And then they wind up on my nightstand upstairs until it's like, oh, crap, all my hats are upstairs. And I bring them all back downstairs and lather, rinse, and repeat. Going hot. Prepping means never having to say you're sorry. Okay. I don't know. There's even in prepping, we've got to apologize for stuff, so I mean I get your point, but I'm sorry I'm not that arrogant that I'm never going to apologize when I screw up, because I screw up often. Just ask Mrs. B. Okay. You're not supposed to put that in that recipe. Yeah, but I tried it. Whatever. Yeah. God, yes. Homo, no. Nice beard. Yeah. I just started growing it yesterday. Had it for a while. Let's see. Tammy Whitley, did I see the picture of military equipment left in Afghanistan? Yeah, I talked about that at the top. Jenny Such, what's Mrs. P's favorite color? Probably pink, turquoise, maybe yellow. She likes pastels, put it that way. That would be the best way to put it. CB's asking what's my Rumble channel. If one of the mods wants to post that'd be great. Not that I post there often, guys. Don't expect to see me there. I mean, occasionally I will, and when I do post something over there, I'll tell you here that there's something over there. So don't think I'm just going to, he's not here, let me go check the Rumble channel. No. I mean, the only way that would possibly happen is if I had a strike on the channel. Maybe go look. Lisa Smith, have you planted your carrots yet? If not, when will the seeds go in the planters? Mid-April. So I've got a couple of weeks to go before they go in here yet. I need to put them in just a couple of weeks before my last frost. So, Jeffrey S. says, Pinball, I collect hats mainly so there's something good in the auction that's held toward the end. There you go. Booney June, I could not find your Rumble channel. Just look up Pinball Preparedness. It's, rumble.com/c/pinball preparedness, and you'll find me. Let's see. Marilyn Parmalee, I overwintered some small sweet pepper plants. They're 8 inches high. 2 have peppers starting on them. Should I pull the peppers? I think they're too small to handle peppers. Yeah, probably. They're not. If the plants are only that big, take the peppers off, put them in a salad. Right now, I'm assuming they're maybe the size of a golf ball. But yeah, if the plants are only 8 inches high, that's not big enough to support the weight. You're going to have all the energy going into growing that pepper, and you're going to have a plant that's going to produce 1, maybe 2 peppers all year. Take the peppers off, prune them back, let the plant grow a little bit bigger so you can get more fruit later. Darlene Carter, we already tried voting Joe out. Didn't work. So what would you suggest to do? Try voting again? Well, personally, I don't plan on being, on federal death row or something like that, or spending the rest of my life in jail. So pretty much the only way that we're going to get him out is voting. You know, somebody else wants to do it differently, go for it, but I'm certainly not going to advocate for it. Let's see. Thanks, Jacob, putting the link up there. Richard Rhodes, do you watch Suspicious Observer, and do you think the sun's activity has an impact on people's mood? No, I don't watch Suspicious Observer, and sure, the sun's activity is going to have an effect on people's mood. If it rains for a week, people are going to be down in the dumps. Okay, yes, everything in your, this is a nature versus nurture question almost, but everything in around you affects your mood. Okay, and whether it's a sunny day, a cloudy day, whether it's a solar flare or whatever it is, sure, somehow, some way that affects you. Maybe it's directly, maybe it's indirectly, but yeah, I mean, I absolutely say what's going on with the sun always affects people's mood. Lady Blue Eyes, oh my goodness, finally a first live for me. So good to be here. I'm glad you made it. There you go. So Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. Hasn't changed in almost 3 years. So, but obviously you got something else going on. So glad you could make one. Hope you have a little bit of fun. James Dozier, what seeds can I start using a 4-foot rectangular LED light instead of a full spectrum LED? Okay, so if you know, the lights that I have are not full spectrum LED. They are 4-foot LED. The key is what your lumens and what your Kelvin is in those lights. If you don't have enough lumens and don't have enough Kelvin, they're not going to do you any good. If you've only got one, you're only going to be able to start one row of seedlings, but you can start pretty much anything under them. But to do it, you're going to need a lot more than just one to do it. You can't just have two and go, okay, maybe now you start 2 rows of seedlings. But what is it? I'm going to have it backwards. It's 5,000 and 2,000. 5,000, I think it's 5,000 Kelvin and 2,000 lumens. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. I've got a video on the playlist. If you look up, it's called Let There Be Light. You don't have to watch the video. Just go read in the description box. That'll tell you exactly what Kelvin and lumens you need, and you'll be all set. Miranda Babcock, I have ground up eggshell, banana peels, coffee ground, potato skins. Is there a formula for mixing these into fertilizer? Yeah, dry them out, grind them all together, mix them all together. And I know a few of you guys asked me, it's not, you need a cup of this and a cup of this. Whatever you got, you put it all together, okay? And I will tell you this, chemical fertilizers, if you buy chemical 10-10-10, it's going to be 10% nitrogen, 10% potassium, 10% phosphorus. If you buy organic 10-10-10, it might be 8-11-9, it might be 9-10-12, whatever it would be. With organic fertilizer, there's no way to be perfect, okay? If you've got all the ingredients in there, put them all in, and they're all going to help. I mean, now you can't go, okay, I'm going to make a 55-gallon drum of this stuff, and I'm going to put 1 eggshell in there. That's not going to do you any good. But I'm figuring if you're anything like me, you're eating bananas occasionally, you're having coffee, you're having eggs, whatever, chicken bones, I use that, stuff like that. If I had to guess the ratios of mine, just by what we eat, it's probably, I bet it's 2 parts banana peel, 2 part coffee grounds, 1 part eggshells, and 1 part chicken bones. I bet that's probably about what mine winds up. But whatever you've got, put it in there, mix it, and you're good. Okay, don't worry about measurements and stuff like this. Because here's the thing, with putting that stuff in, it's impossible to over fertilize. You're not using chemicals. Okay, you're just putting natural ingredients back in the ground. It's impossible to over fertilize. You could dump the stuff in there, it's not going to matter. Plants will only take what it needs. It's not like coffee grounds or banana peels are going to burn your plant's roots. Kenneth Oliver, is it true that the feds went after crypto and took the banks down? 99% I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say anything's 100% for certain anymore, because under this administration, we've got the most crooked government, Department of Justice, everything like that is about as crooked as you can get. I'm not going to say it's 100% certain, but that's just a little too tinfoil hat for me to believe that, because crypto seems to be on a little bit of a recovery, and the truth about what the banks, why Silicon Valley and Signature Bank failed, remember, Silicon Valley wasn't a crypto bank, Signature was. Okay. uh, but yeah, it, they'd have to go a lot after crypto, a lot more to start taking down banks. Urban Homestead, let's hear it for those Nashville cops who took out the trash yesterday. God bless them. Damn straight. They went in there. I mean, if you watch the video, the body cam video, those guys didn't halt. They went straight up, boom, boom, turned the corner, saw the broad, and poof, done. Stop moving. Don't reach for the gun and destroy. Oh, you died? Well, doesn't it suck to be you? Lorelei, the Economist said American banks are missing hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay, unless that is a play on words a little bit from how they're reporting it. There were a couple of $100 billion taken out, like we all did, went to the bank and took cash out and put it at home. The bank, there was a couple of $100 billion worth of bank run money that came out. If they're missing hundreds of billions of dollars, as in like they lost it, that I'd find hard to believe, because the banks don't keep the money. Okay, if you look at all the money that is deposited, owed, whatever, there's only like $2 trillion in circulation, guys. I mean, of all the greenbacks in the world, it's only like $2 trillion. Okay, mind you, the U.S. government's almost $32 trillion in debt. So what did they do? 16 times over. That's just the government. Okay, how many times can you spend a $1 bill? So it's all ones and zeros. It has nothing to do with how many greenbacks. Greenbacks are just for yours and my convenience, and for slipping money, 10% to the big guy through the back door. There's an open question. JD Paul, so what do you see happening in the next 6 months? Well, let's see. Spring will start, then summer will come, then fall will happen. Baseball season will go on. Football season will start. Joe will do a couple of stupid things. Yeah, I mean, I could spend the next 6 hours here answering that question. Maybe a little bit more specific. Indiana mom, any advice for teaching a teenager to drive? Get a blindfold. God, don't do it on a stick. How about that one too? Make sure your insurance is paid off. Wear your seatbelt. Okay. Let's see. I love some of the questions sometimes. Brenda Rayburn, Potato Head still does have one success. He still has his job, unfortunately. I wouldn't call that a success. Okay. He certainly is not successful at it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's still alive, but, I mean, that's simply because, he's got Jill to, change his Depends and feed him his pudding. So, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Jill. Gen X Prepper, Dropbox has redundancy offshore. Data should be safe. Yeah, only one problem with this. You actually think that if somebody sends an EMP over the United States, all of a sudden you're not going to have stuff flying all over the world? I mean, one happens, guys. You can pretty much bet that, unless you're in, I don't know, the Serengeti desert somewhere, chances are you're getting zapped somehow. Just because, oh, they've got one in the Bahamas. Don't worry. That ain't going to, that's not going to help. Let's see. Susan M1224, what is a Faraday cage made of? The most common homemade way to do it is like a metal trash can completely lined in cardboard. Okay. Uh, that what you're trying to do is just let any sort of electromagnetic pulse get attracted and then dispersed cardboard that can't go through. So, let's see. Oops, shot to the bottom. Okay. Gen X Prepper again. I have 5 to 6 Faraday bags that all have all the necessary electronic, all the time generators, Macs. Okay. And that's wonderful. I mean, personally, I don't have a spare laptop, things like that. I don't have to keep a spare cell phone or anything. It's like what I have is what I have, and that's, what I use. Okay. So, but again, as I've said a million times, there is no one size fits all to prepping. There's a lot of people that have backups to backups to backups to some of the, I've got a backup Natchez shooting supply cap, could be, if you got all the stuff and put it in Faraday bag, hey, you're one step ahead of me. That's cool. Okay. I don't have extra laptops and stuff like that. Okay. Carl Lynn, what are my thoughts on France? I'm assuming you're talking about them raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. I can tell you this, Macron's done. Okay. He just pretty much cemented the fact that he's not going to be a president or, of France anymore. Because, I mean, you've got millions and millions of people rioting. Now, again, France is very much left of us. Okay. So, everybody gets a government pension. It's kind of like Social Security. Okay. But if you think about this, they raised it from 62 to 64. When do most people in the United States start collecting Social Security? 65. Maybe you wait till 67. Some wait till 70. Few people take it at 62. If they raised our age from 62 to 64, be like, yeah, so, but this is it. It's like anything else. Once you give something to somebody, it's very difficult to take it away. And that's what France is seeing at this point. They, for the longest time, figured, hey, I got to work till I'm 62 and then I get my government pension. Until they said, now I got to work till 64. Oh my God, it's time to burn down buildings. God, that's the thing. They were all given this, and now it's trying to change. I mean, we're hearing the same thing from in the U.S. Is there's been rumors that they're trying to change the full retirement age from 67 to 70 now. But you got to remember that they're trying to keep Social Security solvent. Remember when Social Security started? Okay, I know we're a little off topic with France, but they basically go along the same way here. You started collecting Social Security when you were 65. The average life expectancy was 67. So you paid into it for 40 years. You collected it for 2. Okay. Now the problem is people pay into it for 40 years and they collect it for 35. That's why Social Security is insolvent. And France is going through the same problem. They're not going to have the money to pay it. And, everybody figures, pick a country, doesn't matter where, well, hey, the government just, they've got money trees out the back there. They've got all the money in the world. It's kind of like when you're a kid, I don't care how poor your family was. Mom and dad were rich. Mom, I want that toy. No. But mom. Mom's going, I got $20 for groceries. I'm not spending $15 on a toy. But as kids, we all thought, our parents had money. As adults, everybody seems to think the government's got all the money. The government doesn't have squat. Von Mousetrap, Pinball, please elaborate on the Restrict Act. How will this affect us? Somebody sent me a couple of things on here. I looked it up when they sent me something in the first place, and some analysis that somebody put together, and I swear this had to be Hal Turner, okay, because the analysis they sent me, this paragraph or whatever, 90% of it was bullshit. I haven't delved into deeply on it enough. I really didn't feel like sitting down and reading 20 pages of this, typical legal document. I'll get to it, but right now it's a bill. It's not going anywhere. It's up for debate, so I'm not overly concerned about it right now. It seems to be that it is targeting big tech, and whoever did the analysis that they sent is like, oh my God, this is going to make people can't do anything. No, okay, so. Brett Rebel super chat was for my garden straw fund. There you go. Yeah, which is a little bit rolled up from the winds we've got. So I got to go out there again tomorrow and redo it. But I have noticed a little bit of the clover popping through the soil, so that's a good thing. So we'll see. But I mean, it's been, well, we seeded it last Monday, so it's been 8 days. So yeah, this stuff should be starting to come up. Joe's Rames, how many acres does Pinball have? Trace. Nothing huge. I mean, not that 3 acres is small, especially when you're trying to mow it. But no, it's not like I'm living on 40 acres and, no, I've still got neighbors. Let's see. Purple Chris got this postcard in the mail. It says Michigan chemical exposure monitoring. No idea. All right, I just saw something. Jeffrey, thank you for the super sticker. I do appreciate it. Oops, I got to go back up to the top here. I saw that, didn't want to miss it. PK, what is my favorite board game? I will tell you, I don't necessarily have a favorite board game, but every time my daughter comes, she wants to play Rummy Cube. Okay, if you've ever seen it, it's kind of like a combination between playing gin rummy and dominoes. Playing gin rummy with dominoes, I guess a better way to put it. I mean, she wins probably 90% of the time we play, but nobody else will play with her because she beats 90% of the rest of the people that play too, because she's got a better analytical mind than I do, which it's scary when your kid is smarter than you sometimes. Janice Kirk, if I move inside seedlings to a greenhouse outside, will it hurt them? No, actually, that's what you should be doing, but do it gradually. Okay. If it's 68 in your house and it's 80 in the greenhouse, move them in, leave them out there for a few hours, move them back home. Second day, move them in, leave them in there for 6 hours, move them back home. Third day, leave them in there for 8 or 10 hours, move them back home. Harden them off that way too. Okay, if that's right, you got to acclimatize anything. Think of it this way. It's you live in Michigan right now, and you're going to go on vacation to Florida, and you're leaving the house in Michigan. You got your sweater on, maybe a ski jacket, some jeans, or whatever it is. You get off the plane in Florida. You go, holy crap. Why am I wearing all this? It's the same thing. You got to transition the plants over too, so they're not going through shock. Don't know, Brian. What do we do if our next election is funky again? I'm going to explain this real quick. No matter what happens, ever since, I mean, and the Al Gore George Bush one kind of pulled this one up. No matter what happens, somebody's going to be pissing and moaning. Okay, John Kerry bitched when Bush beat him in 2004. Nobody really had any leg to stand on because McCain and Romney both sucked as candidates. They got their asses handed to them. Hillary bitched and moaned in 2016. So no matter what happens, somebody's going to say something's not on the up and up. Just. Again, I'm telling you, my personal belief, before I'm gone, we will see some sort of internal conflict in this country, civil or revolutionary. Chief Redbird, did I hear about the guy in Australia who found an 86-ounce nugget, 170 grand? No, I didn't. Cool, good for him. Nice little windfall. Kenneth Oliver, I got 15 gallons of coffee grounds. Nice. Hoping you went to Starbucks and said, "Can I have your leftovers?" What in my garden can I use it on? Basically anything. Okay. Coffee grounds is a excellent source of nitrogen. So you could spread it on your lawn. Your lawn would love you. You can put it in your compost pile, and with a bunch of leaves, and you're got your compost taken care of. You could take coffee grounds and shredded up newspaper and turn it into compost that way. You can put it around any of your plants, and you're going to give them all a good nitrogen boost, which is excellent. It's what's going to help the plant photosynthesize, create chlorophyll, et cetera, give you that strong, healthy green plant. So, no, if you went and found coffee grounds somewhere or have saved them up like that, you're way ahead of the game. It's basically it's like going to the store and buying lawn fertilizer, 30-00. That's what you've got. Prep Rebel, how many grow lights do you have on the seedling bench? 16, I think. 16 or 18, one of the two. And they're 6 inches apart. So, oh no, I take it back. It's more. I forgot. There's space on each side. So if it's 12 feet long, that would be 24 minus, 18. Okay. Carrot Top, how many hours of light do you expose seedlings to? Roughly 16. So 16 light, 8 dark. Have faith. What are my thoughts on Tulsi Gabbard? Tulsi's an old school Democrat. Okay, I mean, go back to when Democrats were she's a moderate Democrat. Okay, would I vote for her? No. Okay, she's still a Democrat. She's more of a middle of the road Democrat. She's better than an AOC. Okay, but she still doesn't have all the right beliefs, according to me, at least. Sue, how and why did I start doing these YouTubes, which I'm happy you did? I've mentioned this quite a few times, because I got sick and tired of watching the prepper channels, and either they were conspiracy theorists, fear porn, or trying to sell me something. And I'm like, okay, YouTube needs honest, helpful information without buy this or you're going to die tomorrow. Crap that you see on so many, or sponsored by, or I couldn't do this without my sponsors, whatever it would be, like, share, and subscribe, all that crap. I get sick of it. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do a channel without all that crap, and we're going to talk about the real stuff. Jackie Rice, when my garden gets going, can we have a tour? Yeah, you'll have, I'll show you basically different things that I'm doing in the garden throughout the year. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. Brian loves making love it. My sarcasm is great. Yeah, it's got me through life this far. I have empty no name on this one. I have empty cat litter buckets. Would you plant anything in them? If so, what? Yeah, sure. Just drill some holes in the bottom, give it some good drainage, wash them out real good, which I'm assuming, it's not like cat litter is going to be toxic chemicals or something like that. Just wash them out with some soap and water. Put some drain holes in there. You can plant anything in there. If you got the boxes that are about a foot square, they're not big enough to grow potatoes in, but they're close. You might get small potatoes if you're looking for spring potatoes or something like that. But you'll grow tomatoes or peppers or anything like that in there. No, those are great. If you got those, free resource, use them. Lady Blue Eyes, AR 10 or 15. I'm an AR 15 guy for a simple reason, guys, is ex-Army. I trained, I know an M16 inside and out, and with the exception of auto fire, an AR 15 is pretty much the same damn thing. Okay. It's not that it's any better than anything else. It's just what I know. Okay. And again, it's like I've said, a million times, There's not one size fits all. There's nothing wrong with an AK. There's nothing wrong with an AR-10. There's nothing wrong with any of the weapons. If it's what you're most comfortable with, that's the best one to have. I mean, I could take an AR-15 apart blindfolded and put it back together. It's not a big deal. Let's see. Fat Daddy's outdoor cooking. This is something good to say. A prayer for the folks working hard to help in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Yes, and we all know that Bear and Jason and Ryan Hall are out there, and probably many others and everything. So yes, a great big thank you to them. Like I said, if you guys want to donate, my suggestion is to go to Grindstone Ministries and donate through Bear. That would be the best way to do it, because you're going to get that tax deduction for it, and we know that money is going to relief efforts. It's not like giving it to the Red Cross and the Red Cross is using it to help. Oh, you're donating to Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and the money's actually going to bring some guy up from Guatemala. So, north of the 52nd, did I watch Southern Prepper 1's last video? I have not. Guys, and I say this all the time, I don't spend my day watching videos, okay? In the evening, maybe I'll sit down and kick on one or two, and that's about it, okay? I've got way too many other things to do than watch YouTube videos all day long. We're still trying to put this house together. Like I said, I got to finish the garage, then I got to rip out a bad front porch and put a new front porch in. So, let alone all the planting and everything and trying to get a backyard going, and a lot of work. Okay. Betty Jo Driscoll, do I like to use black cow, meaning black cow compost manure or whatever it is? I don't use it at all. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it. I mean, I know like Hollis and Nancy's homestead, they swear by the stuff, and then I've heard that the stuff is full of Grazon. Okay, so either way, I find it way too expensive for what you're getting, and the size of my gardens, I'd have to buy hundreds of bags. I'm going to buy anything that I have in bulk. John Kelly, two things Joe Biden's good at. First is naps, and second is warm milk and cookies. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking it was more like green Jello and Depends. Let's see. Rural Internet Prepper, thank you for the super chat. If given the choice, what would be my ideal state and acreage for Shit Hits the Fan homestead? Obviously, I'm going to put Tennessee up here, okay? But other ones that you guys know this. When we left Vegas, we looked all over the place. I mean, the first place we were looking was Idaho. We wanted to be up near Coeur d'Alene. The big key that I had was I had to be near a body of water. Why? Water, okay? Simple as that. Finding something in even almost an hour outside of Coeur d'Alene was still expensive. So that didn't come. We looked at Montana. Montana would be another great place I'd love to be. Very expensive. We considered Wyoming, couldn't find water. We looked at Wisconsin, too expensive, too blue. We looked at North Carolina. At the time, North Carolina was too blue. And then trying to find the house we wanted, but if I'm looking at ideal state, I'd either look at like an Idaho, Wyoming, or I'm sorry, Idaho, Missouri. What state's up there again? Brain juice. Idaho, Montana. There we go. Or I would look somewhere in the southern Midwest or Southeast, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, potentially Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. I don't know about Louisiana, but yeah, that kind of area. But the big key is you got to find somewhere that's near water. Amount of acreage depends on what you want to do with it. For what I can do, 3 acres is plenty. Okay. If I was going to raise cows, no. Okay. Uh, and again, you got to remember, how much can you take care of? Buying 25 acres and 24 of it is all wooded land. What's the point? You're going to go out and play, cowboys and Indians out in the woods. That what's usable land. So looking on through. Kitsy Witty, what is your feeling on warnings again of upcoming food shortages? I haven't seen anything. I mean, we're gonna see some in the vegetables this year. Okay, there's no doubt about that, because the cost of fertilizer is still ridiculously high. The cost of diesel is still $4+ and the farmers need all that. So you're gonna have, again, it's a supply and demand thing. If the food is too expensive that nobody's going to buy it, then the stores aren't going to get it, which means there's a shortage. Okay, if it's not economically feasible for the farmers to plant it, grow it, and harvest it, they're not going to. The farmer's going, okay, we got our seed, we need our fertilizer. This is what water is going to cost us. This is what fuel is going to cost us. Equipment's going to cost us. And in order to break even, we need to sell tomatoes for $5 a pound. They're going, we're not growing tomatoes this year. There hasn't been anything recent that I've seen in regards to impending food shortages, other than, what we've already seen, sometimes this is missing or sometimes that's missing. Mark Brimmer, did I get my straw back down? Yes, and now I got to go do it again because it got windy again today, but that's spring. So I don't mind doing that. It's not much. It'd take me 20 minutes, half an hour to fix it. It's just on the west end of the house as the wind blows from the west up the hill. So, El Groucho, any advice for crops in central Colorado at this time for planting? I lived in Colorado in 1985 for one summer, 84 for one summer. So yeah, it's been 40 years since I lived there. If you know Elizabeth, Colorado, that's where I stayed. I don't know what your zone is. I don't know what your weather's like at this point. But I mean, the early ones that you're going to start, you can start your cabbages indoors. I'm assuming it's still cold. Okay. You can start your cabbages indoors. It's probably too early for you to start radishes. I just did my radishes outside last week. But yeah, I mean, your cold weather crops, you start your cabbages, start your lettuce, your kale, that sort of stuff, your Swiss chard, all that. Southwest Native, what's my thought on missing and murdered Indigenous women? It sucks. I mean, what kind of thought do you want on it? Again, please, specificity in question. Linda Bopp, when are they going to make a bobblehead of Biden? We've already got one. Acushnet Prepper, how many folks have paid into Social Security and passed away before collecting a cent? Oh yeah, I mean, and that's what they planned on. Okay, that a bunch of people would die. Remember, the government doesn't do anything to help people. That was all a slush fund. That was all it was there for. Hey, you know what? We'll tell people to pay in for 40 years, and we're only going to have to pay out for 2. Think about this. If you paid in $20, a year into Social Security, all right, for 40 years, or $20 a month, I'm sorry. Okay. So that means you put in 240 bucks, and your employer put in 240 bucks. So there's $500 that's put in. You work for 40 years. It's 20 grand that's put into Social Security. You live for 2 years and collect $800 a month. You can collect your 20 grand. That was originally how it was planned out to be. Okay. Now, like I said, now, of course, you got people living in their 80s, 90s, whatever it would be, and, can still collect their Social Security. But yeah, a lot of people, you died at 32, still paid into Social Security for 14 years. Nobody's getting that. 859, one more. Let's see if I can find one real quick. And there, shoot to the bottom. Get back up. Was it going to freeze on me? trying to find it. Is it on there? Nope. Let's see. Okay, D Van Eck. I hate New York, but my kids and grandkids are there. Do I dare relocate all my preps from Oklahoma? Are you talking about from Oklahoma to New York? Hell no. D- d- do not move to New York under any circumstances. Okay, especially if you're already in a free state. Do not move to a communist-controlled state. If you're talking about moving to New York, you're insane. Sorry. All right, guys, 'tis 9 o'clock. I don't know if Angry Prepper's on tonight. He usually does Tuesdays, but he's been throwing curves at me lately. And if he's down in Mississippi, I have a tendency to think he might not be on, but then again, he might be. Maybe he'll do a joint with Bear or something like that. But that is all for the evening. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Pinball out.